I am here to wake you up. They gave me that dubious detail of saying wake up after lunch. So there will be no sleeping. I'm here to impress you. Impress Your World is about a communications revolution. What we're talking about today is interrupting people's thoughts. And I've been paid a lot of money to interrupt people's thoughts, and I've gotten in a lot of trouble. So, perfect. So goals. I'm going to give you stuff you can take home with you. Mine isn't so grand and glorious. Typically when I'm speaking, I'm training and I'm doing stuff that people like to leave the room and go and apply it and actually make something happen. So my goal today is to get you to understand the importance of goals. Like when I ate lunch today, my goal was not to spill anything on my shirt. So give me a hand, I succeeded, yes. Isn't that awesome? Because it's always dangerous to wear a white shirt and have to speak. So when we look at goals, today we were supposed to innovate, interact, and evolve. I'm going to give you something you can write down. You can change your life right now. Does anybody want to go home today and change their life and apply stuff and go home and say, hey, I'm better because I heard this guy talk? All right, so here's the idea. We were supposed to get up, speak about innovating, interacting, and evolving. So here's how I'd like you to think about things. I like to use the donut principle. A lot of us are very active. There's a lot of activity that goes on. What we fail to do is focus on productivity. And when you don't have a goal and you don't have an end result, you end up doing a lot of stuff. How many of you are entrepreneurs, own businesses, do stuff? How many of you would like to be entrepreneurs or own a business? Okay, so one of the things we all look at is we have all these employees and they do all this stuff and they do activities, but there's no productivity. What did you do today? Oh, I was so busy. A lot of times when you end up with no productivity, it's because you didn't have a goal. You didn't have a central focus. So if you want to start improving your life, you can literally draw a donut, put it down anything. If it's your relationship, put what is your goal? I want to have a better marriage. What's the benefit of that? I want to be happier. So maybe a happier marriage. And then you put the strategies so that your activities focus around there. So what ours would look like today would be to innovate, interact, and evolve. And maybe our strategies would be to apply, listen, think, share, connect. And so you start getting the idea that if you're focused on something, there's mental power that takes you there. There's actual activities that result in productivity, but at the end of the day, how do you measure your productivity? So you can use the donut principle. It's something that you'll find highly effective, whether it's with your children, it's with your business, it's with whatever you do, and you can have lots of donuts in life. When I talk to the police, they really love this concept. That's where I came up with the donut concept. So how about a secret? How many of you want to start becoming innovators? We've seen some great speakers today. That B Corp deal, what a great innovation. So how many of you would like to be innovators? You want to know the secret to innovation? Who wants to know the secret to innovation? Perfect. I love this audience. A lot of times we have to explain this is yes, this is no. We get people involved, okay? This nice lady here is all involved. She's eating her carrot cake. She hadn't spilt anything. Give her a hand. We're going to wake up with movement. Yes. Okay, so here's a secret for starting the innovation process. And this works. Ask good questions. Question processes. This is how people innovate and invent. I am not an inventor. I'm a great innovator. And I saw a Tony Robbins seminar back in the 80s when Tony was just getting started, and I actually got to go to his house. I mean, it was pretty cool. But I learned something in that changed my life. And he said, it's the quality of the questions that you ask yourself. Ask how. Stay away from why, because you know why? When you ask why, what answers do you get? Why am I a loser? Well, because, you know, your dad beat you. You come up with the why results. Ask yourself, how can I do better? That's where innovation starts, is where you question a process. Look at everything. Question everything. Why are we sitting in this room with these rows? I mean, this probably wasn't the most innovative organization, but why is this room set up that way? Well, because this was the easiest way. So what's a better question? How could we have had a better room? How could we have done something where it wasn't just the front row? Could we have done this in the round? And if you start training yourself, go to bed at night and ask how? Well, what can I do better? How can I contribute more? You'll wake up with the answers. I keep a pad next to my bed because I'll wake up at 3 in the morning and I won't be able to go back to sleep. And sometimes I have to get up and just like start writing. Okay? That's how you train yourself to be an innovator. Anybody can do it. Ideas are within this room. Somebody's got an idea. Somebody sees a process. Don't be sheeple. Sheeple just follow the trend. Okay, I'll give you another tip. I don't like to share this one a lot, but I like this one. Where there's a line, there's always a way around the line. Don't stand in lines. Okay? It's like you go out there to the buffet, there'll be 30 people in one buffet line. There'll be nobody in another buffet line. You experience this at Walmart and everywhere else. Why do we do that? Well, because that's what we're trained from kindergarten. They train us in kindergarten. You stand in line, you get your milk, you stand in line, you're always in line. That kills the innovation process. The whole education process is killing innovation. Okay? It really is. We have to get out of the box. We have to interrupt. We have to ask how. The people that are inventive in this room have literally taken the B Corp. I'm like blown away with that. Like, who comes up with that? Somebody looked and said, how can we do better? So if you take nothing else out of this, take what I learned from Tony Robbins, changed my life, which is that one thing, ask yourself better questions. It'll make you happier. How can I be happy? Don't ask yourself why, just ask yourself how and what. Okay? So we're supposed to interact and evolve. It's great to come up with an idea, but if you can't interact, if you can't evolve, you can't communicate. And what we're talking about today is disrupting thought in business. When they told me that I got to get up in front of people and disrupt people's thought, I'm going, I've been doing that since kindergarten, but I always got in trouble for it. They should have been giving me an A+ for coming up with great ways to interrupt class because I was funny and creative, but instead I was in trouble. I spent an extra year in school in those 8th hours. I mean, 2nd grade was the best 4 years of my life. It was fabulous. So what I want to show you today is what I looked at and where I came up with Impress Your World is I'm always asking how and what. And I looked at the evolution of communications and it hit me that we are at an incredible point right this moment. We have evolved in communications, and I'm going to show you that we're actually about to revolt. It started when you wanted to get a hold of somebody, and it was important. In the old days, they sent smoke signals because it was quicker than having a guy get on a horse and ride over a mountaintop, so they sent smoke signals. Then, think about this, because this is really interesting, and the younger you are, the less relevant this will be, but some of us probably don't remember Pony Express. Has anybody here ever gotten a Pony Express? Anybody that old? Nope? Okay. So when your message is urgent, you used to send it Pony Express, and I know you can't read that, but it was only 10 days to San Francisco for letters, and that was amazing. And then the telegram came out. And if you're probably like, I'm 50, so if you remember that, you still kind of remember like, oh my God, a telegram came. Something was there. There weren't junk telegrams. You didn't get like knock on the door and it wasn't the Western Union guy. The only place there was junk telegrams were on those Bugs Bunny commercials or with the Roadrunner or Wile E. Coyote and the thing blew up, right? So there were no junk telegrams. But here's something that was interesting that completely interrupts your thought, which is why I threw it in there, because this will blow your mind. The last telegram, according to the Western Union site, was done on February 2nd, 2006. Like, who sent a telegram in 2006, but that's actually on their website, so let that interrupt your thought. Here's another one. If I gave you $10,000, would you eat a live bowl of crickets? Has nothing to do with anything, but they said to interrupt your thought. So, airmail. Then we went to airmail, and probably a lot of you don't remember airmail, but we had airmail, and you could send something airmail. And then it's a long distance call. How many of you remember interrupting anything because somebody was calling long distance? Right? You climbed up the pole, the operator was on there. Who remembers climbing the pole to talk on the phone, right? So the long distance call would interrupt the meeting. Mr. Jones, you have a long distance call. Oh my God, somebody's calling long distance. But that used to get people's attention. And then they came up with the bat signal. I personally am going back to this. Again, I'm interrupting your thought, but I'm thinking that I get a big H, somebody wants to get a hold of me, because that's about the only way people are getting me right now. You shine that light. How many of you would like to have your own bat signal? Because I'm thinking about starting my own signal company. So if you want a bat signal, go to batsignal.com and register. We'll get you a bat signal. When we want you, sign up there. So, and then they had the hot phone, right? Remember the phone? They wanted to talk to Russia. They pick up the hotline. So then, who remembers when the fax machine came out? Wasn't that amazing? If you wanted to get somebody, you sent a fax, because nobody had a fax machine. And oh my gosh, don't worry about it, I sent him a fax. And then they figured out how to send junk faxes. So now the only people that send faxes are still listening to 8-track players, but some people are still sending faxes. And then the pager came out. Remember the pager? That was the greatest invention ever. And then I was thinking about this when I was putting this together. I was running a direct sales company in the 80s, and we came out and we got all of our reps the pagers you could send a text message to, and it was the best because they couldn't send one back. So, but that was really cool. And then if you were cool, then everybody got pagers, right? Then the drug dealers got them, and now I think they still have them. I'm not. Are there any drug dealers in the room? Do you still have pager? Yes, sir. Do you still have a pager? Perfect. Then the car phone, right? That was cool. And then the bag phone. I bought my first bag phone, $1,700. It was like 68 cents a minute, and I didn't give that phone number to anybody. I only used it so when I was driving, I didn't have to pull over when my pager interrupted me. So somebody would page me, I didn't have to stop, find a quarter. And remember when you used to be able to go to a phone and put a quarter in and make a call? Where is the last payphone you saw? Are there payphones? I haven't seen a payphone in a long time. There aren't very many. There used to be walls of them. So we've evolved. Communications are evolving. And then overnight. Now this still works because there's a barrier here. You don't get a lot of junk overnight mail. Occasionally, but not many. Right? So this is still a way to get people's attentions. And what I'm trying to get at here is, how do you get people's attention? And then mail came out. Remember this? When email, and it used to be the only people that sent you email were people that you wanted to talk to. How many of you get over 100 junk emails a week? Everybody in the room. We're insulating ourselves because we can't escape this. And then the text has evolved like that. Like, I didn't even text a year ago. I still despise texting. I mean, you're getting text while you're driving. This is killing people, by the way. No, it is. I mean, it's not even funny. I mean, maybe you think it's funny that people are dying, but it's really not. I mean, you're just that kind of person? Is that, okay. Yeah, I really can't even see who I'm looking at, so if you're acting like I can, all I see are bright lights and a couple of people up here, so I just kind of look out and then people are going, oh God, it's great. So, I just sent a text, and then today, this is what we're faced with. If you want to start innovating, then you got to start thinking what's next. And this is what we're faced with today. What is a way you can guarantee you're going to get a hold of somebody? And I'm thinking my bat signal idea is pretty darn good at this point. Except for then the sky will be all polluted. Is that yours? No, that's mine. It looks like mine. So how do you get a hold of somebody today? There's really nothing left. And we are at a communications tipping point, because this never stops. You can't clean out your email fast enough. The actual open of junk emails down to under 0.02%. 68% of the people in this room open less than 30% of the email sent from 48% of the people sending it, and 95% of all statistics that you will hear on this stage are made up on the spot. Don't you love percentages, though? If you want to communicate, throw in a bunch of percentages. 80% of you are still trying to figure out half of what I just said. So how about this one? Don't call anymore, right? We don't want you to call anymore. I'm going really fast because they only gave me 30 minutes, and 30 minutes is usually enough for my stand-up routine, and I don't even get any content in. So here's another one. I'm really sick of texting. If that guy was bald, I couldn't find a bald guy. I should have put myself in there, but that would be me. I can't keep up with the text messages. And they just started, and now everybody thinks, well, I'm not going to call him. I'm going to bypass, I'm going to text. Social media overload. This is fascinating because this came and it's already over. People are giving seminars on SMO, social media optimization, SEO, search engine optimization. People are lecturing now. They're in the past. I'm going to tell you right now, posting something on Facebook doesn't work anymore. It worked maybe last year, the year before, but now you can't communicate anymore because Facebook, the news feeds, just if you have 500 friends and some of you have thousands, I don't have any, but when you go through there, it's incredible because you can't keep up with it. And there's just so many things, and we're in information overload. Even Google is becoming obsolete because when you go to Google now, you have to sort through so much garbage before you get to what you're looking for. Because you can literally Google about anything. Put in there, and I did this, put in, wombats, and you'll get, buy a book at Amazon on wombat behavior. And that mating book on wombats was so fascinating. It was only $8.95 used. It was great. But that's true. Look at all these search engines. It's never ending. Google owns the space, but there's lots of other places. So think about this and think where you're going. If you have an idea and you want to interact with people, how are you going to do it now? What's the best way to interact and communicate? Like that. You know what's funny about that, though? I was listening to Chet Holmes, and he's a master salesperson. You probably heard him on the radio. Chet is actually saying, you know what, if you want to get a hold of somebody, start faxing them because we don't get junk faxes anymore. They have to handle it if they have a fax machine. And he actually, that's funny that you said that, but there's a lot of truth in that. We're going backwards in a lot of ways as our evolution happens. We're actually going to go backwards. And I'm going to tell you right now, the way to be heard is going to be back to belly to belly. Everything over the internet is going the other way. That's kind of what part of the Impress service, stop for a 30-second ad, is we actually offer a video conferencing face-to-face, belly-to-belly when you can't be face-to-face for $8.25 a month. Any of you using WebEx or GoToMeeting, we have a service for $8.25 a month. You can have 50 participants, you can have 12 video participants, and you can get it at impressmeeting.com, and it's incredible with a 30-day money-back guarantee. 15-second commercial, that's how I get paid. So what's next? Impressmeeting.com, great web service. I highly recommend it. So what's next? Anybody have any ideas how we're going to communicate? Faxing, we're going to go back? Because right now, how many of you are just tired and fed up and you'd like to join the communications revolution? We're revolting. It's going on in Libya right now. They're revolting. It's a revolution. You're seeing people are making changes. And there was a communications in Twitter and Facebook. They're all changing the world. Okay? And what's happening is we're insulating ourselves because we're too many interruptions. We call it interruptive advertising. Do you know how hard it is? If you were to open a business on Main Street or in any shopping mall in America, how would you get your message out? And here's something interesting. How many of you go to a strip center but you have no idea what the name of the strip center is? You could walk, there's so many strip centers that you can't even as a small business person go, well, I'm in this mall or I'm in this center. It used to be there's 2 or 3 of these shopping centers. Now there's urban or suburban sprawl and shopping malls, and you don't even know how to get the message out. So if we want to get America back to work and we want to give and empower entrepreneurs, most entrepreneurs fail because they can't acquire customers at a rate that is affordable. And they run out of capital before they have enough customers. And that's true. So how many, do you know what I mean by interruptions? So think of your day. You get radio ads. You go to the bar and there's ads above the toilet. I was in Las Vegas. Zappos bought ads in the gray Benz where you put your stuff in Las Vegas airport. I mean, where there can be advertising, somebody has done advertising. TV changed mass marketing. Then the internet came and it was incredible. Now everybody's like advertising to make money on the internet. You know it's too late. Now you can make money on the internet. It's just harder and harder to drive traffic to your site. So we get interrupted all day long. Radio, what are some interruptions that you deal with from mass media? Somebody throw something out while I get some water. That's what we speakers call a break that's conveniently timed for water. Facebook, TV, radio, billboards, it never stops. People are shouting at you all day long, and guess what we're doing? We're buying DVRs, we got caller ID, we have secretaries, we have voicemail. We have call blocking. We're insulating ourselves. How many of you watch commercials? How many of you prefer to DVR through commercials? Just flip through, right? And now they got on demand. You don't even have to, like, they've shortened the commercials. You can watch a 30-minute show in 22 minutes. They used to tell you not to waste TV because it wastes time. I say watch more TV because you save 8 minutes on every on-demand show. The more TV you watch now on demand, the more time you save, right? Things are changing. We're interrupting your thoughts. So right now we're having a paradigm shift. Everybody know what paradigms are? Okay, 20 cents, exactly. So that's perfect. A paradigm is, of course, your beliefs, what we believe is our foundation to be true. I'm going to tell you right now, there is a communications paradigm shift going on. We are shifting from being shouted at to what we want. We want the information when we want it, how we want it, when we want it, and what we want. Okay? And it's a shift. And the people that are going to lead the pack and the people that are going to get followed are the ones that are giving meaningful communications. What is meaningful is different for everybody. But the companies and the employees and the people and the entrepreneurs and the inventors that figure out how to communicate. Because the shift, it used to be just come up with something, put it 27 impressions, get it out on billboards, blast it on radio, blast it on TV, spread so that you're everywhere like dog manure. You just want to be everywhere. It's not working anymore. 96.3% of all ads go wasted by 42% of all advertisers. Here's the question. This is what we want. Is it worthy of my time and my attention? What gets you up in the morning? What keeps you awake at night? That's what we need to figure out. The big companies, they spend more money on market research than they do on advertising. Unfortunately, the little guys, the ones that will put America back to work, don't have those resources. They don't have the time. And that's why you're seeing the homogenization of America. That's why every city looks the same. That's why there's a Best Buy and a Target and a pet shop. They're all the same. The mom and pop businesses are going down the toilet because they don't have a way to acquire customers in an affordable fashion. That's the truth. Okay? This is what else people want to know. So when you're communicating, think about whether, no matter what your station is in life, think about how you communicate. What people want to know is, will this improve my life? And I'm going to give you some quick tips here in a minute that you can use. But this is the strategy. So the goal is meaningful communication. The strategy and what you're going to see, the revolution and the evolvement of communications is going to this model right here. It's two-way, meaningful, collaborative communications. It's back to the way it used to be, that back where you would sit with your friends or your salesman or your local insurance agent, and you had meaningful communications. You didn't go on and buy insurance from the internet. They're doing it, people are doing it, but we're moving the other direction, believe it or not. At least that's what 68% of the experts tell me. Are you guys writing these percentages down? Because I'm going to be asking questions later. Mainly so you can remind me which statistics I used as I make them up. So here's the ultimate goal. And think about this, study this PowerPoint, because this is the goal. A collaborative two-way effort. It's not just one-sided. If you want to be successful with your customers, you want to be successful with your nonprofit. How many of you work for nonprofits? How many of you are entrepreneurs that have a nonprofit but you wish it wasn't? So, nonprofits, you have a challenge because you just, oh, we're raising money for this. And I mean, I get hit every day for a nonprofit. It's really difficult. It's a difficult environment. You have to figure out what's going to get your contributors up in the morning. What's going to keep them awake at night? How are you going to get so that it's meaningful? It can't just be one-sided anymore. You want to change everything. Memorize this slide. Take the maze out of it. climb up, overlook, look for the money in the middle, and find a way to collaborate with your people so that it's a two-way street, so that there's something meaningful for you and something meaningful for the people. This is really deep. And if you understand this, you'll start changing everything. Because this is extraordinary, and it's what's going on. It's happening. The big companies are doing this. So this is where we're going. Here's some quick tips for you. How am I doing on time?
96% of the way there.
96? Perfect. Okay, so here's some quick tips for you. Nobody cares anymore. This is what people do when you shout at them. Just imagine this, memorize this. I try to use these PowerPoints because they're better than words. And if you look at these images, hopefully they'll stick with you. When you're communicating, are you shouting at people? Or are you getting feedback? Communicate with passion. No matter what you do, do it with passion. This kid's a great salesperson. He's going to get what he wants. This is your first sales presentation. There's single-minded thought. He's got one thought. He's not thinking about 6 things. He's got a dirty diaper. He's hungry. It's one thing. That's all his single thought, and he's not shutting up till he gets it. It's true. First sales presentation. And the only way to overcome the sales presentation is some duct tape. This is effective communications. Heart to heart. In from my mouth, in your ear, and out one ear is not communicating. I teach sales really for a living, and it really is what selling is about. Selling is doing something for people, not to people, but selling is communicating. It's effective communications. It's taking something you believe and transfer it. If you can get it from your heart, if you're passionate about it, start crying about it until it gets answered, but do it effectively. Have messages with impact. And here's how you do that. This is what it is. Write this down, because my friend Brian Tracy, who's one of the best sales trainers in the world, made this comment to me, and it was life-changing. People don't care what it is. Here's what they care about: what it does. When you're writing copy, when you're sending stuff out for your nonprofit, when you're doing any kind of communications, ask yourself and do the OMG test. Oh my gosh, do I have to have that? If you can read anything you've written and you don't go, oh my gosh, I have to have that, then you've failed. If you're telling people what it is and not what it does, you've failed. Nobody cares what it is. We all care what it does. Okay? Create desire. You create desire, you'll always have a buyer. The higher the desire, the easier it is to get a buyer. And a buyer just simply means somebody that'll accept and buy your message. It doesn't mean you're selling a car. It just means you're selling a concept. You can have the greatest idea in the world, but if you can't sell it, nobody will know about it. You could invent a car that would run on water, and if you sat in your basement and you didn't tell anybody, nobody would know. Nobody would care because they wouldn't know. Create desire, you'll have a buyer. Here's an idea. If this salesman's like, hey, lady, your house is on fire, okay? Nobody cares. You want to get the message across? I'll show you how you get the message across. Light the house on fire. You want people to take action? Light them on fire. I can take anybody. Enthusiasm sells. I get paid to train people how to sell better. Sometimes we hold their head underwater. We'll get anybody enthusiastic. Sometimes that's what it takes. Light them on fire. That's what you do. I don't care if you're raising money. If you're raising money, then be passionate about it. Have a cause. Care about what you're doing and communicate with passion. And you got to have an elevator pitch, because that's part of our goal today, is to interact. If you don't have an elevator, does everybody know what an elevator pitch is? No. Okay, well, an elevator pitch is 30 seconds that creates desire. The way it comes from it's how long it takes you to ride up an elevator till you get off on your floor. In New York, they got it made because those 90-story buildings, you got a little bit more time. Or you can go over to our hotel. It's 5 stories, but the hotel's elevator is so slow you could sell anything. So you have to have an elevator pitch. When you meet somebody and you want to get a message across, have an objective and have a polished presentation where they go, oh my gosh, I want to talk to you more. Make a connection, because that's called interacting. Interact with each other. Make a connection today. Walk out of here with 5 good names and interact. Tell people what you're doing, because this is where achievement happens. It's between the dream and believing you can do it. You can have a dream, but if you don't believe, you can believe, but if you don't have anything to dream about, you've got nothing. This is where achievement happens. Challenges. I want to give you this gift. This really doesn't have a lot to do, but this is my favorite thing to understand. Challenges happen. If you want to be successful at anything, you're going to face challenges. If you're not facing challenges, you're not doing anything. It's not important. Now, this is lava. You're driving down the road. Is this a challenge, or is this just a little roadblock? Most of the time, challenges can be driven around. Don't let them stop you. I'll give you an idea. And I changed this just for Richard, and he's not here. But you can have a great idea, and you can be ready for takeoff. And I can tell you for $5, I can stop this idea. There's how. That's how much those woodchucks cost to put in front of a $100 million plane can be stopped with $5 worth of boards. What's stopping you? Okay? What's stopping you? And here's the deal. You're going to get off the ground, but you're going to hit turbulence. You know what's important? It's how you land. Because you have to be ready to fly again. Okay? And I want you to think about that, because as a long time serial entrepreneur, and as a person that owns multiple corporations and employs a lot of people, we have challenges. You think Richard Branson hasn't made? He has more challenges than all of us put together. He owns so many companies and does so much. It's how you handle your challenges. Things happen, it's how you react. You can only control how you react. We can't control what happens. So take that and go forward with that and let that improve your life. Okay? And what I'd like all of you to do is to start impressing your world by having an impact on everybody you do. I am about to launch something that will be the next revolution. That's what Impress Your World is really about. What we're about to do is going to be life-changing and will empower entrepreneurs around the world, and it is epic. It's Facebook-esque. It's beyond conception. Well, not really, because I conceived it. However, what I'd like you to do is go to impressyourworld.com. There's a place you can join our Revolution community. It doesn't cost anything. I'm not selling you anything, and we'll keep you up to date. But if you join, you'll be on the very ground floor of what could make you and save you a lot of money. It's not an MLM. It has nothing you'll ever have to buy. It's going to be something that will be so amazing that it'll rock your world. The only thing I'd ask you is, if you enjoyed this today, go onto that site and just take 2 seconds and sign up for our community, and we won't give you spam, I promise you, okay? I want to thank you. I hope I have impressed you, and I hope you enjoyed this and take something with it.